Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Flintlocks and Fireballs, where a handful of mad actors will attempt to survive the treacherous waters of Dungeons and Dragons. I am your host and Dungeon Master Jason Phelps, and I am joined, as ever, by Robbie. Genie in a bottle, you've got to rub them the right way.
Right.
Bellekom.
Sure, cool.
Well.
Cool.
Sam.
That's a place to start.
Sam. Gin in a bottle. You've got to whack full their daddy-o. Burns.
Right.
And Ellie. Jimmy's down the bottle. You've got to fetch Lassie Sparrow.
Why am I the only, not slightly pornographic one I feel left out? I mean, I know it's getting hot in here because of the physical temperature, but that's no reason for porn on this podcast.
I will have you know that was a reference to beloved and entirely dubiously innocent.
Yeah. Get innocent.
Dubiously innocent popular pop song by Bewitched.
Yep. So innocent. So innocent that you couldn't get the word innocent out when you're trying to explain yourself.
Was it? I'm sure Bewitched was Genie in the Bottle.
I think so. I thought my one was a reference to
Nelly
Whiskey in the
Furtado
Jar.
did a version of it, but I don't think it was her song.
I definitely remember being like a kid
Was it Nelly Furtado?
and doing dance school dance. Like when I say school dance, I mean you're 6 and it's the Halloween dance.
Yeah.
Not that your school had its own choreographed dance that you had to do every morning. Which is a concept I have just invented and is horrible.
That is brutal.
Ooh.
Your brain is you're an insane and horrible place.
Like how some
Also,
schools have a song.
worryingly
Yeah.
plausible.
Oh no, I feel like that would be a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the American concept of school spirit fully makes me feel ill, if I'm honest. I'm sorry if you're into that and you live in America, but God, that is barbaric stuff.
Apologies.
That should not be allowed.
Similarly, but it makes me feel nauseous.
I just, it isn't having to go to school bad enough without having to, have the spirit about it. It's cruelty to children.
Which presumably is also in the bottle. Whack for Medallia.
Yes.
Although that one's actually in the jar, but I just wanted something to mesh with gin in a bottle.
Yep.
Speaking of whacking full Medallia, in no way whatsoever, it's time to cast our minds through the medium of traditional folk song. What the fuck am I doing? Alright. Let's write this one down for the future. Medium of traditional folk song.
I mean, if you
Rod
want
for your
to.
back, Jason.
Sure. Okay, let's...
Future Jason, have you whacked for your daddy-o?
And let's indeed find out, future us, have you indeed whack-folled your daddy-o in the present?
Jesus.
Who knows what it might mean to whack for my daddy-o, except perhaps my mama, who's the only one you'd know. And she's surely not telling, she keeps such things in trust. If she's worked for me, daddy-o, it's back to you past us. I have no idea what response I gave to that.
I mean, it might be the auto-response. What, you don't know. And then if you did do anything to your daddy-o, it will be a mystery.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on my mood, how much... how much time I have to fill in a future message when I get around to it. It might just be it might have just been no. Oh, yes.
Yeah. it's possible.
I can't imagine Whack falling at one's daddy-o. God, that sounds
What does
just
that
awful.
mean?
That is an excellent question. It
means less every time you say it.
I think it means more every time he says it.
The narrator in Whiskey in the Jar is very insistent that we do so.
Yes,
yeah,
extremely so.
Like, it's an important part of the process.
Yeah.
Like stealing a guy's money.
Well, he's very innocent about it, obviously.
Totally.
This is already so weird, and we haven't started yet.
He says this twice.
It's
Whack
really
former daddy-o, whack
warm.
former daddy-o. There's Whiskey in the Jar.
There is whiskey in the jar.
And there's content in this podcast. So,
Eventually, if you're lucky.
It's time for us to leave.
This is what you tune in for. It's nearly as good as when we Google things.
Continued descent into madness and begin Flintlocks and Fireballs.
I adore you.
You weirdos.
I've missed this.
Do you think we've been doing this for like too long? Like, we're like too comfortable at this point. Yeah. Like, I feel like maybe we should be less comfortable. No, this is the perfect level. If you're still with us, I don't know what you're doing here at this point. I hope you get joy out of this.
We certainly do.
Yes, we have a lovely time.
Previously.
The podcast. We should do that bit, shouldn't we? Yeah.
I don't even know if we kept that in.
I mean, that's really up to editing, Sam. So you're going to have to ask him.
Previously on Flintlocks and Fireballs. It is the lead-up to the Continental Congress in Newmark that will potentially decide the fate of of Western Sunder. As part of this, the party have been trying to get to know the different factions and begin trying to arrange some manner of alliance or possible compromise that can result in the independent colonies surviving and hopefully prevailing in a war against Syria. Having recently learned that the leaders of the faithful, the cities under the sway of the two dominant, what we might call Regency splinter faiths, the Church of Purity and the Church of St. Fury, are in town. Those representatives are in town, and they are planning to represent the faithful at the convention. The party made their way to the Church of St. Fury, were able to secure an audience with Grand Minister Schmidt. Ingrid Schmidt perhaps lets slip a little more than she intended in a moment of anger, but certainly communicated Fury's stance on the matter, that they very much intend and desire to spread their faith across the continent, and that the Church of Purity has the same goals. Unexpectedly, the party discovered that they did not appear to be minded towards a state religion, at least not an enforced one, in the same way as the Regency back in Jova, but seemed to embrace the idea of competition. Where they definitely did clash, however, were with the Achene nation known as the Anwar or Dream Talkers, who had been actively, and it transpired violently, resisting attempts by both the Furious and the Pure to proselytize their faiths amongst the Achene. The party suggested that a point of possible compromise could be a guarantee that missionaries would not be harmed so long as they abided by the law, and provided they were allowed to enter, with the Furious insisting that they be allowed to enter and they be allowed to preach in public places. Wanting to get additional sides of this story, the party set out to try and get an audience with the venerable speaker, Judgment Shall Be Visited Upon Thee, Cole, who is apparently in the city as well. Having learned of the Church of Purity's quite utilitarian approach, in the sense of a lot of their faith being focused on the ideals of the greater good, with very much a core of humility, self-restraint, and public responsibility. They learned that when not engaging in congregation, the speakers of the Puritans, tend to do a lot of volunteer charitable work, including building houses. Since the east side was quite torn up in the attacks from the previous battle, including some area, at least one house that Scamp destroyed themselves, the party went down to try and repeat the successes that Scamp had had in the City of Law by using Fabricate to build houses. They encountered an unexpected obstacle in that the houses, unlike those those newly built houses, were collapsed and full of rubble, which needed removing. So they proceeded to use magic to try and resolve this. Corzin conjured 8 figures from the past, including his father. Scamp conjured 24 silent, grimly terrifying mimes, who, after discorporating, have now left the images of 24 mimes on the flagstones nearby.
Still can't believe that wasn't the weirdest
normal thing to do.
And also had...
art.
Yes. And also had a wild magic incident in which they vomited up 2 cursed items. Speaking of cursed items, the party discovered that...
Never a phrase you want.
Celestia's Lyre of Inspiration, obtained from the Lost Archive in the Void, is also cursed.
So cursed?
Or, given
so
what
cursed.
You know about the giants possibly working as intended, in that it compels those affected by its inspirational myan to continue performing the task that was named, with a chance of shaking it off when the task is done, but not a guarantee.
Yeah.
You also discovered that you were being scried on, or at least viewed through an arcane eye, and trapped under a bucket. You were able to free the 30-odd people that you sort of unwittingly cursed into house clearing.
They were fine.
After a slight misadventure where you discovered that no, giving them a new command does not override the previous one. It resulted in dancing fever. And got around this by building 12 tiny doll houses with the aid of one of the carpenters there, and filling them with rubble, so that they could complete the task of clearing a house full of rubble very quickly in quick succession, and thus get lots of opportunities to shake off the effects of the curse. It is at this point that the carpenter, the joiner, essentially asked Scamp what lessons they'd learned from this, and revealed himself to be none other than the venerable speaker, a Judgment Cole. A human man in his 50s with tanned, weathered skin, a curly ginger neck beard, fierce hazel eyes, and a heavy-set brow in a perpetual near frown. He's wearing a sober cream cotton shirt, soft brown trousers with braces, and a muted brown, and has, although not worn right now, but folded up nearby in case of rain, a muted brown cotton coat and a plain rounded hat with a wide brim for travel. His spirit, which had not been visible until he called for it, appears to be a dark blue hound with glaring white eyes, and I think rather than taking you off to any of the churches of purity necessarily in the city, he leads you a little bit away from the rest of the work folk who are sort of having the lunch that you bought them as an apology. And sits down.
I did do that.
Yeah, to break.
You did do that. It was very sweet.
Yeah, to
I
break.
Was sad.
Bread and coffee and sandwiches with you. It's very much still a public location. He's just found a spot on the dockside with some unattended crates that you can sit on and speak. So, with that in mind, I think we'll go for a slightly less ominous soundtrack there. He takes his seat, unfolds the sandwich, and begins. Takes a bite of it, nods approvingly. Thank you for the provender.
Sorry, what was that word?
Provender.
What does that mean?
Is that food?
This is out of character.
Oh yeah, food, lunch.
Oh, cool. I've literally never encountered that, so I'll be in character and say.
Oh yeah, no, it's fine. If you reckon this is a word that Celestia would know.
Probably. Provender. It's a very celestial word. You're welcome.
So, I understand you have things you wish to speak with me about.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, I certainly respect the intent of what you've been working.
Oh, that's what people always say when you did a really bad job.
Yeah, that means you suck. in plain speech, I think.
No. It means I appreciate your intention. You may not have succeeded in exactly the way that you intended, but when it came to the mess, you were responsible, you cleaned it up, and you have successfully cleared out and rebuilt some houses, and that has saved a great deal of labor, and means that more folk without roofs will have shelter when the rains come.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Probably the thing to focus on at this point.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, rather than everything else.
Rather than like all the mimes and the curses and stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
I would imagine that if your intent was ill, you would have been more straightforward about it.
I think if our intent was ill, I like to think that we would have been a bit better at that, to be honest.
I feel like we'd be a bit more efficient in it.
These days I just tend to try and do my best to trust the process.
Yeah, this would have been a choice if this was to do harm.
This process was insane even for us. Yeah. Lights up a pipe of tobacco.
So, you have my attention.
I mean, if that didn't get your attention, I don't know what would, to be honest. We wanted to talk to you about this conference.
I am all ears. What
would be the most ideal outcome for you?
Yeah, what do you want from it?
I want exactly what I've always said I want. I want the best outcome for the most people.
And what is your definition of best outcome? If you don't mind me pressing you, because that's different for everyone.
Of course. I have worked as my siblings in purity have worked to enrich the world, not in the sense of riches and gold that the folk of Fury believe, but in the things that matter. We seek to ensure bellies are filled, roofs are built, that there is shelter, that there is healing for the sick, and work for the needy.
Okay.
Can you get behind that?
And we seek to spread that message. We are not ashamed of speaking what we see to be the true way, because our experience has shown us that it is a way that works and that has real and meaningful benefits for those who follow it.
What's the catch?
Yeah, what about the people who don't follow it? Do you still help them?
If their bellies are empty, if they are unhoused and in need of shelter, yes.
Good.
Would you be looking to go further afield and preach this in the same way that those in the Church of St. Fury are planning to?
Indeed, we do. Many of our siblings have taken it upon themselves to make the dangerous journey into the east and the south to spread the way of St. Purity.
What is the way of St. Purity?
It is the way of humility, the way of responsibility, and self-restraint.
What kind of self-restraint?
No. I would put it this way. I see you enjoy a pipe of tobacco.
Yep.
But
just like this look of thunder, like, don't come for my fucking tobacco, like flashes through her eyes.
I have one thing left.
One thing I'm allowed to do. She puts it away pretty quickly, but it does happen.
Well, I don't think I even need to roll this.
No, it's not well put away. I'm not rolling for it. It happens.
Yep. Well, I do speak plainly, but have you found in your life that indulging in vices to excess has caused you pain and trouble?
Yes, I've actually just stopped drinking. Yeah.
Well done.
Thanks.
I wish you much success.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, I would say that that is an example of self-restraint.
I suppose it is.
Sometimes we have to learn lessons through hard experience. I myself was all too fond of the bottle as a younger man.
Really?
No, he nods. Indeed.
Was that bad for you?
It cost me greatly. And friends and family. But
I'm sorry.
it is appreciated. However, in purity, I found a way to keep away from such things. I found purpose that I had been lacking in the work that I had abandoned. In seeing how it could bring joy and meaning to people. I was originally driven by the ambitions that young folk often are, desiring to be rich, to have great status. Had much of a drive to charge the most I could, to work for the fanciest clients. I had a gift for woodworking. Used to make fine cabinets with polished veneers.
Ooh, sounds pretty.
It was. And I was paid well by rich folk who did not care for those they employed, save for what I could make them. And I spent that money poorly, much of it on the drink, and it cost me greatly, even my skill and my business. I still make cabinets. I still make nice cabinets. But though I do not earn so much coin as I did, work such as this, he nods to the houses, is honest and a better use of my time.
Suppose people need houses more than they need cabinets.
Don't get me wrong, people need cabinets too. You gotta put things in places, otherwise they very quickly end up just spreading out and filling everywhere.
Yeah,
you don't have houses, cabinets, sort of.
Indeed.
It's a cupboard on an empty fucking street, isn't it?
Yeah. Did you encounter your companion here later? And Corzin will gesture to the hound spirit.
I did. I've always had the sight, but I had little interest as a young man in taking up a career in the cloth.
Oh, I get you there.
So I kept my sight to myself, as many of those do who do not seek that calling.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
It's odd how they just sort of turn up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very much not the same for me.
Really? What happened with you?
Well, my stalwart companion was at the ministry. Not the ministry. That's the minister's the other one. Was very much at the church where I came and I learned my way.
Oh, that's different.
Was a companion to the speaker who helped me find my way, and when Speaker Morrison passed, he chose to be my guide instead.
Huh. Aww. I suppose you hear about that happening, yeah. But just, you don't think about it much.
That's kind of cute. I like that.
Is he... saying he like I know anything about your fucking spirit. Is your spirit... They hid.
Mm-hmm.
It's unusual. You don't see many that can. Not to that extent, anyway, where you wouldn't see them at all. I mean, mine definitely can't. For comedy, it's just going like round the dog in a circle, like hello, 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 hello. Like, it's just like that kind of energy.
Yeah.
It is it is certainly possible for those conduits of the divine that have the knowing to conceal themselves.
The knowing and the want. I think you have to have both.
However, my companion was in this case engaged in errands elsewhere.
They can go far from you?
Do they get stuck under a bucket, perchance?
He doesn't seem to react to this beyond raising an eyebrow.
No, I was just wondering.
I'm not familiar with any techniques of interfering with spirits with a bucket.
Ah, don't worry. It's a little thing that happened. Wondered if it was you. Obviously not.
He frowns, but doesn't press the matter.
I don't either.
Spirits are not bound to location or person except as they will it or as is their nature. My companion was simply tending to other matters of his concern.
Fair.
You had more questions.
Yeah, but I can't think of anything now because I'm just imagining a dog doing paperwork.
Oh, imagine if your spirit could do paperwork for you.
That would be really helpful.
Oh, that'd be so good. Definitely not what you want to do, is it?
Rainbow Spirit cackles and shimmers with light.
You would never do paperwork, ever.
Corzin looks at the octopus. Well, you got the limbs for it.
The octopus kind of stares and then shrugs.
A shocking response.
Yes.
The classic office worker energy, though.
Yeah.
I have a question. Just theoretically, right? Somebody in your church. What happens if they break the rules? Okay, me, for example. I'm a hypothetical scenario. I'm in your church. I fall off the wagon. What happens?
Well, in that situation, do you come seeking help to get back on the wagon?
I mean...
Have you asked before for your siblings to watch over you in case you do?
Probably yes.
then I would imagine that your siblings in purity would respect the wishes that you expressed beforehand and help you.
Really, though, what is the catch?
I mean, you say you want to spread your word and things. Like, what happens if people don't want to hear it?
Well, I think that depends on how they do not want to hear it. We do not force our way onto anyone. But if our words sow dissent, and those whose power is threatened by our message were to take up arms against us, then I would not blame any soul that sought to defend themselves. If that is what you are referring to.
But I'm assuming starting fights is considered up there with the vices, right? Just genuine question. I'm curious.
The
defending yourself is a whole different thing. We can acknowledge that, I think.
Judgment Call takes 3 tools from his belt and puts them on the crate. A hammer, a saw, and a curious sort of like, if I remember this correctly, spoon-like almost sort of instrument. It's I mean, is this right? Sorry, not a spoon-like instrument. What appears to be a bent piece of metal, kind of U-shaped, with sharpened along one edge, with a which then extends to a pair of wooden handles. Corzin.
I'd recognise this from shipbuilding, surely.
Yeah, you would definitely recognise this. You recognise this as a scorp.
Right. Yeah.
That is an excellent word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scorp. What's it for?
Scorp.
Do you ask that?
Sure.
Had to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Cole. This is a scorp.
That's an excellent word.
A scorp.
You use it to shave wood to create a sort of hollow. He mimes with it.
I'm so glad that sentence carried on because there was a pause after shave, and I was worried.
Use it to shave. This is my shaving spoon.
Yeah, shaving with a scorp. I mean, you could.
That's
but
why
I
he's
don't
got a neck
recommend
beard.
it.
Because he's been trying to shave with a fucking spoon, and he's like, let's not bother. Carry on.
I thought that. Yeah, no, I was right. There is also a single-handled version of the scorp, which is a bit more scoop-like in appearance. But yeah, it is essential. Yeah, he mimes with it, and you can see how, like, on a piece of wood, you could definitely see how you could use this to create like a U shape in wood.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's how they get the curved bits in the hull of a ship.
Huh. Or a guitar, I suppose.
Yep.
Or a spoon.
Or a spoon.
Would not know.
You're carving a spoon out of wood.
However, I would consider these 3 tools. Each of them has a different purpose. Now, if I were to... let me put it this way. Each of them has a different purpose, and each one's purpose is right for the right thing. If I need to join... well, there's actually a number of ways I might do it, but we're going to leave out the question of dovetailing. Let us say that I'm simply building a timber frame and need 2 joists to stick together. For that, hammer, nail. To cut a beam to length, the saw, and, indeed, if I should need to to groove out a funnel, then the scarp would be my tool of choice.
You don't want to be grooveless.
Violence is a tool. The axe can be used to cut trees. It can be used to cut limbs. It has a right place for use, a wrong place for use, and multiple uses. There is a time when violence is justified, as I know you yourselves practice. You have, I understand, famously fought in defense of the city.
That's right.
So, is violence wrong? It is wrong if it is used for the wrong ends. Violence to protect the innocent, to protect one's kith and kin, to strive against those...
Back on intent, really.
There are... We live by straightforward rules, but this is not a straightforward world.
You got that right.
What I would say, though, is what purity teaches us when we do take up arms. That virtuous ends are not do not excuse immoral means. A great many crimes are justified by the idea of the greater good. And though the greater good is our goal, we must always weigh the means we use against that. For instance, I have little understanding of such dark magics as I've heard tales of. But let us imagine a scenario in which you could preserve this city from war by cutting out the heart of a child every month. I would say find another way. For that way is a road to temptation, in which you will find yourself easily justifying. Well, this is a ludicrous example, but presumably
it sets a very bad precedent in terms of what is acceptable for, as you put it, the greater good.
Also, if it's every month forever, that's an infinite number of children, and there's nothing that justifies that.
Yeah. And again, once you've fucking started, yeah.
But such deals have existed. Such people imagine themselves as being able to make such bargains and come out ahead because they imagine that they are special.
Superior in some way. Yeah. Seen that before.
Self-deception leads to disaster. Worst of all, the self-deception of personal ambition. The greatest deeds are not achieved by one, but many.
Well, on the subject of that, you mentioned what you think would be the best outcome as far as you could see it from this situation. Another question I would have then is, as you see it, what is the greatest obstacle to that right now?
There are a number of obstacles. Obviously, there is the threat of retribution by Osiria.
Isn't that just?
If I may be frank, Osiria...
I'm behaving myself. I'm not going to say anything. You can be Frank. I'll be Steve. Celestia, who do you want to be?
I'll be Ernest.
I'm sorry. It's been a weird day. I'm trying.
With all respect, I'm glad this is a weird day for you.
I wish it was more weird. Anyway,
it's fairly weird.
However, I will be straightforward. Osiria has long tolerated the existence of the Puritans of the Furious and its colonies, despite the mandate of the Holy Mother in Tyre that they should wipe us out. They have been ill-befitting overlords. They have not cared well for the people of their colonies. This is why we have lent our support to the uprisings against our Syrian rule. However, they have reached out to us.
And what have they offered?
Amnesty.
If you're at liberty to say. Amnesty?
A return to the fold with no repercussions. To the option to return to the status quo.
So they've offered a threat. That's
the threat.
That's a threat.
Of course, it's a threat, but but the thing that we must weigh when we think of the people in our colonies, the people that we are responsible for, is whether they will successfully carry out that threat. Because if the coalition such as that which is proposed cannot be made, or if the terms of such a coalition are too odious, then it may well be that returning to that overlord will save the most lives that we are directly responsible for. I appreciate you may feel this comes at odds with what I've said about seeking the greatest good for the greatest number of people. However,
you need to be alive to be able to do that.
Indeed. And we do not live in a perfect world. We have families back in cities like Purity, back in places like just double check. Yeah, back in places like Johannesland and St. Gregorsville. There are people I am directly responsible for, and I must consider their interests as well.
What if you were to step off the table and it made enough difference that a lot of other people died? At what point does that take precedence? Genuine question. Without judgment.
Well, that is the reason why we have not yet accepted Orsiria's offer.
Because from what we have with the numbers, you could make a real, proper difference here. In terms of the whole outcome.
We could. And we are aware of that.
I know.
However, I have my doubts about whether a coalition will be possible.
What are your doubts?
How much do you know about the other colonies?
This is the process of learning.
Yeah.
I would say then, I'm sure you're aware that, broadly speaking, the colony, there are those of the faithful who follow the way of purity and those of St. Fury. And we are, in effect, allied. There are also the immigrant cities that have allied themselves with Newmark. And there are the cotton states to the east and west who draw their power from the land. Well, I see the potential for great rifts between our neighbors.
Yep, those exist. That's what we're working on.
Certainly there's the potential.
There's also the potential to find some sort of way. It's going to take work.
Yeah.
While I would say that while we are more driven to ensure that we do not excuse immoral means by justifying noble ends, the same is not necessarily true of our cousins in St. Fury. They might be willing to turn more of a blind eye to the proclivities of the cotton states, whose wealth is built on the backs of slaves. And I'm aware...
Well, there are some things that we are not willing to let go.
Then you are likely to come into conflict with them as well.
Yep.
Because they are first and foremost concerned about their wealth and their power.
Yep.
They are, hands down, the richest of the colonies. And if an alliance cannot be made that allows them to keep people in bondage, then unless they can somehow be guaranteed an alternative source of power and wealth, they are more than likely to make a deal similar to the one that Orsiria has offered us. You see, they haven't rebelled. Their ideological reason for rebellion is freedom. Freedom from taxation, from tariffs and trade restrictions. The freedom to make more money.
Ironic while they're enslaving people.
Yeah. I mean, you are doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. I'm curious, actually. Have you, as a group, had any dealings with the Achene generally? Any Achene groups? What are relations like there?
Difficult.
How so?
As mentioned, many of our siblings in the faith have taken upon themselves the path of the missionary, set out into the east to spread the message of purity. All too many have not returned.
Okay.
You know what? Roll an insight check.
Okay. Yeah.
Is this open to anyone?
Really,
Yeah, anyone.
Really bad roll. What's my insight? That is 5.
11.
The page with this. I've lost it. I haven't got my dice on me. I'm using a digital one, and my page is being a dick and not loading now.
Dang.
Yeah. This is great content, folks.
Do you want me to roll a d20 for you?
Yes, please. I know my modifier.
Oh no, it's a 7. I rolled real bad for you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Judgment
that
call.
makes it a 12.
Judgment Call is a very difficult man to read.
Yeah. The neckbeard is in the way.
Yeah.
I'm sure it hides many secrets.
It's just very attention grabbing. You can't look away from it.
Suffice it to say, where our cousins have returned, they have found voices willing to listen, but too many of those voices have not returned, and that leads to a level of distrust and suspicion.
Mm-hmm.
We have little. Just thinking about where they are now. We've heard of the different relations to the east and to the west. To the east here, we understand there are nations who are more willing to trade, but there are also many who ride griffins and raid and attack. To the west, well, on the border with what used to be the Sulian colonies, I understand many of the Achene there fought as mercenaries on one side of the other to greater or lesser fortune. But I've heard little of the interactions there.
With St. Fury's lot, this is not a guarantee because we haven't talked to the Achene groups about this particular thing yet. We were talking about some sort of protection for missionaries. Would that appeal? Legal?
Certainly it might. I would warn you that we both seek, while both of our faiths seek to spread, the Church of St. Fury has at the core of it a belief that the faith has what they refer to as a manifest destiny.
What does that mean?
That it is right and vital for the followers of the faith to expand, to spread, to break new ground, both in the sense of spreading their way, but also in, as they see it, taming the land, making it their own. And they are much more willing, he says, gesturing to the hammer on the crate, to turn to violence to do so.
It would have to be mutually assured non-violence. We have talked to them about that.
Yeah. Some kind of treaty.
Might ask,
Yeah.
which Achene are you looking to approach on this matter?
Give me a minute, Jason. I've written down so many, but I don't know what page they're on.
If you would like a very quick reminder of the
No,
infections?
I've got them. I've got them. I don't know which. I've just got names.
Very quick reminder if you'd like.
It would probably be. I mean, the Anawar are the Dream Talkers.
Yes.
So what would it be that? I mean, not the Amasaur. That's not right.
So the Anwar are the Dream Talkers. They're the ones that had lots of druids. The Yamasaur are the Griffin Riders.
Yep.
The Children of the Sky.
The Telani are the Seven Peoples.
Yeah, you
The
haven't really
Chewa are
interacted
the
with them.
Sea Peoples.
Yes.
Artwa are the River Striders. Titano are the Buffalo Raiders. And I think that's it.
Yes, you have only met the Panuki, which is Telesnere's people.
The Dream Talkers.
You have met the Yamasaur when they attacked you, and you rescued one of them after shooting them down. And Tekakwitha was the representative of the Dream Talkers, the animal.
Yeah.
You have not yet met any of the others directly.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, the Panuki. Possibly the Anawa. We need to talk to the others, so I don't have answers on that lot yet.
Any of them who are willing to come to the table, at least.
Yeah.
I think it's worth raising this with them.
Yeah. This is the process that we're doing in talking to you. We're trying to get a knowledge of what everybody wants and see what we can do.
He studies the three of you for a moment, and you get a strong sense of the hound spirit studying you as well. He turns and looks at the hound. They seem to sort of wordlessly exchange some sort of communication between them before he looks back. I would advise you to tread carefully with the Anawa, those who call themselves the Dream Talkers. They stand the most to gain by the continent remaining splintered.
Why do you say that?
It is my understanding, from what words have passed back to me by those missionaries who've returned, that they hold a great deal of influence through their dream speakers. And the different peoples of this continent are divided, the stronger that influence becomes. As things stand, they could be perceived as being in control.
They've got a monopoly on a certain thing, and so long as they keep hold of that, it gives them a position of prominence.
They are deeply threatened by the idea of the colonies uniting, or of anyone else.
can understand that. And again, this is why we're talking to people. We need different perspectives. So.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, your proposal of a guarantee on safe, non-violent treatment of missionaries...
Yeah, assuming it could happen. Would that work for you?
That would work for us. But what... But a key consideration is that we must have reason to believe that such an alliance will have enough ability to resist the Arcerian Empire.
So you'd want safety guarantee for missionaries, and you'd want to know that it had a chance of working. Basically. A good chance.
Yes.
A solid one. Okay, that is good to know. Again, this bit's the fact-finding mission, so can't make you any guarantees. But we'll be back.
And if I may, I have questions for you as well.
Of course.
Yeah?
Why?
Why what?
It may seem an obvious question, but why are you doing this?
Because we don't want lots of people to die?
For a start. But also... The rule of Orceria over this continent is... I think it's fair to say it's been a... it's been a net bad for most of the people who live here. And now even those who were once loyal citizens or subjects are being undermined by what Orceria is doing.
Personally...
And
I'm sorry, Corzin, I didn't mean to cut you off. Carry on. I'll go after you.
Yeah. And in the first uprising there has been... They have sought to try and bring it down as quickly as possible. There was a time when their power was utterly unchallenged. And now I think the people of this continent are realizing that maybe they can and should run things better themselves.
I mean, personally, I'm a drow, right? I've seen the sort of damage that kind of entrenched power can actually do. Very intimately. The kind of harm an empress and a power structure that everybody is stuck in actually does to people. And it creates a system that is very, very hard to get rid of. And it hurts basically everybody in that system except for the people at the very, very top, maybe. And I can see that is already happening a little here. And will happen even more so. To a much, much bigger extent if somewhere where the fucking monarchy gets involved. And I would like to stop a disaster that I have seen before.
Well, you're not the first to say such to me. That makes sense.
Not the first person?
Drow.
Oh, who is the other drow?
Oh. One have been a number of the years who've expressed such things. They have, on occasion, been visited by drow seeking audiences, many of whom I have not spoken to because they've had a method of approach better suited to speaking to Minister Schmidt and such. But,
yeah, that makes sense.
But those who have... but there have certainly been those who have done as you have, proven their actions before trying their words, and who I've exchanged words with when the time has been right.
Anyone in particular who stands out?
Thanks for a moment. Fairly similar people. The last one I spoke to was a... what was that name? A moment.
Note time, Jason. Fine. Notes and a book. Note.
Thank you.
It's okay. It's the intermission music. Don't worry.
Yeah.
That was it. Last one I spoke to was a chap by the name of Theron. Couldn't speak to the age, but seemed...
No, we age very differently.
Reasonable, practical type. Hunter. But good at working with his hands.
On his own?
Well, as I said, others have come by, but yeah, at that point.
If you'll just indulge me a slightly weird question, I draw the Rothanol symbol with the star and the Elven R, like in Celestia's canonical song notebook. Have you seen that before?
And shakes his head.
No, I was just curious.
Doesn't ring any bells to me.
That's quite good news, actually.
Reassuring.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to be, playing you the same tune.
If you do ever see that, could you do us the favour of telling us?
Well, if we should happen to speak again and I should happen to have seen that symbol in between, the best I can promise is to keep an eye out for it.
Thank you.
But I think what you might be actually asking with your question is there any personal ambition here?
Indeed. The question I was going to follow up with is, let us say we are victorious and your goals come out as you plan. Where do you see yourselves in the society that emerges?
Oh, nowhere. We're fucking off.
Well,
our ambition is not to be members of any emergent government, if that's what you're thinking. We have business elsewhere.
Yeah. We've got other stuff to do.
I mean, we stand, I hope, to benefit as much as anybody, but no more than that.
Yeah, I've got no interest in being the fucking mayor or whatever.
No.
I wouldn't mind playing guitar a bit. just give him the tiredest look. Maybe being nice to people, that kind of thing. Maybe sleeping. quite like to sleep.
Yeah.
If I might... No, first, before I do ask, I would say this. As I said, one of our tenets is that great deeds are not achieved by the one, but by the many. And many see that as a castigation of personal ambition. But I see it as a relief of burden as well. Because what it means is that the weight of the world does not rest solely upon your shoulders.
Oh no. No, thankfully not.
No, and we didn't seek this situation out. We're just trying to make the best of what we can now that we're in it, and we are people of, to whatever extent, a position and means, and we have whatever resources we have, and we're trying to do what we can with what we have.
Also, there comes a
We've
point
got
where
things
it's not...
that others don't.
There comes a point where it's not...
abilities and stuff.
Yeah. It's not personal ambition, it's personal responsibility.
Yeah, moreover.
If I've got all this magic and I don't use it to help people and people get hurt, well, it's not my fault, but it is my fault.
And, you know, if there is something that only you can step up to and you don't, that's a choice that you've landed everybody else with, isn't it?
It's a choice you've made, but the consequences aren't solely yours.
Even if you, like, really fucking don't want to, you're sort of obliged at that point. Otherwise, you're a twat.
Yeah.
Scamp, yes?
Yes.
You said before, I recall, something about feeling trapped between how you use your gifts. That if you build houses with your power, you might not have the power to save others when needed. But if you don't use those powers in that way, you may have wasted them. Do I have that correct?
I mean, I can do so much each day. If I'm worried about saving it and it gets to the end of the day and I've done nothing with them, that's a waste. I could have done good that I didn't, and people might have suffered needlessly. But if I use it all and then big scary monster appears and people die, that's a problem too. So it's a real... I mean, it's fucked up, really, isn't it?
It's a fucker, yeah.
It's a fucker. That's not a good... And it's happened many, many times. And it's the trouble of, like... If 30 people doing a thing, gets the thing done, and I could do it by myself, should I do that? Or should I hold off for the one thing that 30 people couldn't do, but I can do by myself? It's just not a good answer. And I've got to decide every day.
There is a good answer.
Oof, go on
Is
then.
that... Go on, please. Just, I would love to hear this. Please give me this answer.
Genuinely, if you have one.
I've been looking real hard for this answer.
You will not always get the decision right.
Oh, that's a bad answer. No, sorry, carry on.
Make the decision. You will lose more by hesitation than you will by deciding. If you believe on a given day that there is a high risk, that you need to be able to do the things that only you can do, well, conserve your strength. If it turns out that those things were not needed, then take comfort in knowing that you were prepared. If you judge that the odds are high that you will not need such things, then use your power for the greater good. And if it should turn out that disaster strikes, you still did good. It is rare, and I say this as someone who has been gifted powers great in scope by St. Purity. It is rare that something should happen that only you can do. And if you are in such a place, you will know most of the time. But there are times when I've made those choices myself. There are times when I use those powers I think it's from a minute. "10 years ago, when the war was raging with Su, I found myself and my companion moving to do what we could to aid those in the fighting. A great, brave commander who I knew died one day. One on whom a great deal of trust was placed. A great deal of belief was placed by the defenders of the settlement in which the fighting was hottest in. That particular captain would lead them to victory, would hold the line. And they died. And under artillery bombardment. But there was captured from the enemy supplies a dose of Phoenix's down. At the same time, there were a great many soldiers who were wounded and close to death. And I had power enough that day to heal many around me, to cure the wounds of those who were close to death, or to raise this fallen hero.
It's tough.
Well, I chose to use my powers to heal the many, to bring those around me back up to fighting before they crossed that threshold. And I placed a charm upon the body to preserve it, intent saying, tomorrow, hold faith. Hold faith, fighters. Tomorrow he shall return. And the artillery strikes continued, and his body was destroyed by cannon fire.
Fuck.
Head and heart shattered, beyond my power at such a time to restore. I regretted that night making that choice, for I had done what could have been done by potions to save many lives, and there was indeed great argument that I should have brought back that commander to preserve the spirit of those fighting. But I did what I believed to be the best thing I could do.
That's all anyone can in that situation.
We did lose that settlement. A retreat was ordered. But those that I saved survived, at least for a time. Maybe that commander could have saved more lives. But
or maybe they'd have died in that artillery bombardment the next day.
Yeah.
We cannot know such things. We have only the power to act in the moment. But I can tell you that hesitation would have cost me more. For I had to to choose whether to save those lives then. And so I did. He kind of claps you on the shoulder, Scamp.
Yeah.
Make a choice. Stand by it. Trust your heart that it was the right one. Besides, you'll sleep better if you can trust your heart. And you're not gonna save anyone if you don't sleep. Now, I believe
guilty looks. Guilty looks.
that is
so that's an in-character laugh. And rubbing eyes.
That is lunch concluded. I thank you again for the repast. But I must return to work. If you have more magic of the perhaps less musical variety, it is welcome. Otherwise, I understand if you are spent for the day. Or if you feel you need to conserve.
We should have a chat about what else we're doing today.
Of course.
Thank you for your time.
Really, thanks.
Thank you for your straightforwardness. It is appreciated, and is how I prefer to deal.
You're welcome. I'm sure we'll talk again.
I'm certain we shall. Stands up, picks up his coat and hat, gives you a polite nod. So purity be with you.
Dead silence. I'll just cause it actually say with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't meet his eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, Celestia just looks. Nothing.
Gives you a polite nod and returns to work. And as you finish off any remaining crumbs of lunch, that is where we're going to take our break, and we will return after these, no doubt important, messages.
Nothing says I love you, I'm sorry, or you're special to me like killing some plants and using them as decoration. Here at Hung's Botanical Butchery, we specialize in finding you the perfect arrangement of ethically sourced floral medleys. Great for enemies, lovers, or anyone anywhere in between. Hung's Botanical Butchery, now in Midtown and Upper Harlot.
And welcome back. So, you might notice a subtle difference in the quality of our voices.
Or possibly a really big one. We're honestly not sure.
Yeah.
It might be really different.
Well, we'll see how... Well, future us already know how noticeable this is.
Yeah. But the reason for this, in case you are curious, is because we are recording it. We're recording the second half on a different day in a different place.
At a different time of day.
At a different time of day, and we are all together.
Hey! Yeah, different environment sounds, and also maybe morning voices. So that does make a difference. So yeah.
It's not yet midday.
Woo! A really weird time to play D&D, honestly. But yeah, we're all at Sam's. It's
11
great.
on a Monday.
Yeah.
Yay!
So, on that cheerful note, having finished your not quite as intended lunchtime conversation with the venerable speaker, judgment shall be visited upon thee, Cole, who you found to be disconcertingly reasonable.
Yeah, weirdly so. Yeah.
For that name as well.
I love that sort of name.
Yeah.
I'm so tempted
good.
now for campaign 2 character just to give myself a name that's 20 words long.
Oh no!
Like a whole sentence. Just break my trend of single syllable
Multiple hyphenations.
I like the thought that you have two modes with character names. That either one syllable word or a paragraph. There's nothing in between. That's very pleasing.
At which point, though, we're starting to head into back into our sort of downtime segment / stuff that's not all necessarily happening on the same day. To begin with, then, as we've discussed during the break,
during the week-long break.
The break, i.e. the week between recording, we're going to start by jumping to the evening. Presumably.
Jump.
Oh, I guess whatever time you want.
I did a little jump. None of you can see it.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Technically, you could do it at lunchtime. You'd just be getting Sabna in the wee hours of the morning.
I mean, time difference would be a factor in this.
Yeah, you've established there's an 8-hour time difference.
Okay, do I know there's an 8-hour time difference?
You do know there's an 8-hour time difference because of journeys to...
There's also no way to tell
from.
when Sabnet is sleeping, is there?
Not easily.
I'm going to send.
Okay.
Okay. Rainbow Spirit gathers together.
Sabnet, husband, darling.
Presumptuous.
Yeah. Oh, I'm forward. Look at me. Need a chat. When will you next be sleeping? Because visit in dreams. Bye now. I can't think of anything to say.
Okay. Sabnet, it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's about 6 a.m. I feel like this is an unnecessary question to ask. Is Sabnet asleep at 6 a.m.? I mean, granted that the drow time cycle is like...
It's just literally why I asked.
Yeah.
It's like it's all bells.
Yeah.
I have no idea when
It's
he's
all
asleep
bells,
ever.
but you do... but because you have diurnal soldiers that have been going in, you are more synced to the daylight cycle.
Yeah, I
in
think
terms of the operation of the city.
it would be around about the time he's getting up.
Ooh, early riser.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
I mean,
Oh, actually, he's like a swordy boy, isn't he? That kind of makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Then I know exactly what
the
he'll
other
be doing.
person wakes up.
He does. He's got to make his exit.
He's got to be gone before they're awake.
Okay, Jason. You decide how many words this counts as.
Okay.
Bibbity, 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 boo. Oh! Celestia!
I'm obsessed with
Dearest! That was unexpected. I can arrange to be abed at a time that would suit.
And you're out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bibbity, 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 boo was 6.
Right, yeah.
So I know.
He does vocal warm-ups in the morning.
Would I be able to work out what time it is where he is? This bard is not good at maths.
Pretty
you can always
easily,
ask Corzin,
you can just ask Corzin.
Corzin!
Right?
What the fuck time is it in the Underdark? Help me.
Well, it's 2 in the afternoon here, so probably about, well, you don't really have morning down there, do you? But
no.
6 in the morning on the surface is what it would be.
What's he doing up at 6 a.m? Disgusting.
Going
Weird
bibbity
little man.
bobbity boo. That's what he's doing.
Doing a fucking warm up at 6. What a weirdo. I'm obsessed with asking you to do maths so that I can talk to your other characters.
Yeah.
That's real dumb. Well, thanks. See you later.
Corzin would have to know for navigation purposes, if nothing else.
I feel like he'd also be quite good at maths.
Yeah.
Because of that. Because he has to do it quickly, like all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I guess. I don't know when the fuck he's going to be asleep still, do I? Because if he's woken up at 6 a.m. but also he fucked someone, like when the fuck does that mean he's asleep? Another sending. Just tell me what your bedtime is. I don't mind when. Just when will you be asleep, Snookums? Bye.
Okay, he is expecting this next one, so he won't.
It's not. It's been like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
I've run upstairs to chat to Corzin and come back down.
Actually, in the amount of time it's taken, he'd have probably had to have worked out. Genuinely, would Sabnit have any kind of concept of different time zones?
Roll a nature check for Sabnit.
See, people say it's not fun to roleplay logistics,
pretty sure,
but it is. This is fun.
sure he's not got trained in nature. So
Does he know where Celestia is?
Intelligence check.
Oh yeah, he has. Oh, okay, just straight intelligence.
Yeah.
Does he know where Celestia is?
Like, you can't guarantee that.
0 modifier, folks. That's a 17.
Oksana might know they're in Sunder.
But the amount that they teleport, you can't guarantee.
That's true, actually.
You know that Celestia and co were headed to Sunder. You would guess that they've probably arrived there. It's been 6 months.
But one would imagine Matramisson knows, so Oksana might
and
know.
over the course of conversations and your education and so on, you've become acquainted with the conceit of time zones.
Right.
So yes, you can work out that she must be 8 hours ahead.
Yeah, and if it was information Oksana got, she would have passed it on. There's no reason not
Depending
to.
on exactly where in Sunder, it could arguably be anywhere from 6 to 10 hours ahead. But based on where Celestia was intending to go, probably 8 hours.
We'll arrange an afternoon nap. Equivalent 1 p.m. my time? Suitable?
I'll ask Gordon what the fuck time that is, and it will be fine. Cool. See you later.
Excellent.
And at 9 p.m. your time.
Yeah, I'm assuming this is a day that I haven't used any fucking spells, by the way. It's like a random ass day. And I can do quite a few sendings.
You can do. You had to sleep at 9. Before 9, you gather you get back to your bunk and prepare your little bit of gnomish brandy and sand.
Yeah. Come on then. The Rainbow Spirit holding it out in my hands. You're going to see Sabnit, okay?
Okay. Nevish Spirit pulls into the sand and Nevish Brandy.
I fall onto my bed because I've
As
forgotten
ever,
to
you
lie
just
down as ever.
hurl a bunch of gnomish booze-laced sand into your eyes.
Lovely.
That's how that goes. And fall unconscious. It's the bizarre experience as ever of falling quite suddenly and falling backwards into your bunk and then landing on your feet in some sort of elaborate Gothic castle. There are you can't actually see the ceilings. The walls rise up until they just descend into darkness far enough away that your dark vision doesn't cover it.
It seems fine and normal.
But there are little sconces on the wall with dramatic candle lighting. There is inexplicably organ music from somewhere.
I do a dramatic pose for a second because no one's here, so fuck it.
A moment.
So I probably would have felt people there
You
anyway.
notice on the wall there is a mirror, a full-length mirror where something that looks like you but composed entirely of rainbow light is doing a matching pose.
Ooh, that was kind of cool.
Interestingly, instead of the little flicker of rainbow flame that stands on the end of your on the end of your hand and guiding there is weirdly what appears to be a tuft of white hair, like coming out of the end of the rainbow light figure.
Oh, that's weird. Cool. I was like, what would it be like if we were backwards? Say to the rainbow spirit, who presumably is in me.
You get a sort of... The rainbow spirit...
We've established that it can talk through my mouth.
Can talk through your
we
mouth.
Can't talk at the same time. Yeah.
You say this, and you sort of... the rainbow spirit says to your mouth, that's weird.
Isn't it, though?
And the figure in the mirror goes, I know, right?
Right? Hang on.
Hang on. They both stare at each other with narrowed
eyes.
eyes.
Very suspicious of mirrors in the Dreamfold.
There is a
back away
staring contest as both versions of Celestia, paranoidly, stare at each other and then sidestep out of the view of the mirror.
Yeah. Let's go and find Stabby, shall we?
You venture down the corridors of this gothic castle. Roll me a d20. Why not?
18.
You don't. The only thing that you encounter are a series of other mirrors in which. Weirdly, you see equally suspicious and paranoid alternate versions of Celestia. One of you is like a Minotaur.
I look cool as one of those.
Yeah.
Does one of them have a rainbow goatee?
One that is the same but rainbow goatee.
Celestia walks past, goes, hot. Maybe I should get one.
One that is where you appear to be. You're wearing your nice reversible cloak of silver dragon skin.
Yeah, the dragon skin coat. Yeah,
with the purple exterior. Yeah. So you see one Celestia is made from silver dragon skin and purple cloth, has buttons for eyes, and appears to be wearing a drow skin coat.
That is harrowing.
Yeah.
Bye. Not going to spend any time near you.
Those horrible adverts for washing powder, where the characters were made of clothes.
But also wearing clothes. Yeah.
So wearing people's skin clothes.
Yeah.
She has yarn hair as well, and it seems equally freaked out by you.
Let's never speak of this again.
the version of the rainbow like flame is like a strand of multicolored bits of fabric.
Yeah, weird.
And but eventually you come to a portion of this Gothic castle where there are, in place of mirrors now, there are shelves filled with various cakes.
Cakes?
A disconcerting...
God, it's a good thing I'm not Scamp, isn't it?
Yeah. A like, there are various different shapes and sizes. A lot of them are pink with icing strawberries and similar on. And different sort of... like, they quite... honestly look a bit garish, a little overly
like the
sweet.
Cakes that we had yesterday.
Yeah, very much like the
Stardew Valley cake.
Somebody made a pink cake from Stardew Valley for Sam's party, and it was amazing.
Yeah,
so
it was.
Yeah.
And indeed, as you see an archway up ahead, which appears to be a giant cake with an archway in it.
Cool.
It's a Gothic archway.
I have a cake question.
Yes.
Do any of these questions look like they'd be suitable for a proposal?
Roll another d20.
I mean, I did roll this one, so
That was
12. Yeah.
If you want to spend a couple of minutes searching, like there's many possibly suitable ones.
It has to be perfect for my boy.
Okay, so are you going for you have a selection of cake options. You could go for
I've destroyed Sam.
You could go for a cupcake, a miniature version of like a wedding cake, a full-sized like a gâteau, like a full-size multi-tier cake. What kind of you have many cake options here.
I feel like cupcake would be a great and terrible nickname for Stabby.
You
should refer to him as cupcake.
If there's anything multi-tiered and ridiculous, 100%, because it's also funny to try and carry that through the dream pod.
All right, you pick up with
Only
both
the best
hands
for my fiance.
Roll me a d6.
5.
5-layer.
Good lord!
Wedding cake with elaborate icing. It's got a little figurine appropriately of a pair of drow on top of it.
Lovely. Mm-hmm.
Yes, this seems the most suitable.
Excellent.
Elaborate at least wedding cake that you are able to get hold of.
Proposal cake.
Your proposal cake. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're proposing with a wedding cake.
Yeah.
So
totally normal.
Yeah.
So normal.
So as you so picking up this cake, you step through the cake-themed archway, and you can see a much more poorly lit series of Gothic corridors. And you can faintly see a shadowy, insubstantial but faintly familiar-looking figure mid-run, like it's almost as if they're running in place a little bit through, and just faintly the outline of the sort of soap bubble outline of a dream around them.
Oh, cool. I will pop in.
As you step through, Sadno, in the way of dreams, you don't really know how you got here, but you definitely, like, it was probably a mistake to have that much cheese at lunch before taking your afternoon nap. You feel like you've been running forever, as this with the terrifying figure pursuing you, shrouded in darkness and strangely sort of and lavender lavender clouds behind you, and just the overly exaggerated voice. Stabby!
Nope.
Come here, Stabby! You're good enough to eat!
Not today, nor any other!
Celestia, as you kind of step into the edge of this dream, you can see Sabna running desperately down a Gothic corridor, wearing a giant cake outfit being
very
pursued by like a terrifyingly oversized drow woman with tresses of black hair, shrouded in darkness and lavender clouds, wielding an oversized fork and knife.
Oh god!
For some reason I was expecting Stabby to be in a wedding dress. I don't know why. I just was like, the only thing I could picture was like full wedding dress.
He's ready.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yes, you step into this. As ever, you can make thanks to the power of the dream spell, so long as you're not hostile to Sabnit, you now have control, as much or as little control as you wish to exercise. But yeah, you got a cake.
Yeah. Would you like this to stop?
Celestia just like steps out of an archway,
I
holding
feel like I'm
a giant
stood still
cake.
next to you while you're running, like just improbably.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Yes, would you mind?
It stops.
The figure of your erstwhile suitor suddenly collapses into little clouds of lavender smoke and fade away.
Should we be literally anywhere else?
Yes, this wasn't exactly the best venue for conversation. By the way, liking the
Oh, thanks. It's real. Yeah, this is in the real world now.
Oh.
You indicate, gesturing to Celestia's vibrant rainbow coloration, which is the first time you've seen it.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's new on the B team. We discussed this before.
Yes, but the audience does not know this.
This is true. Oh,
And you
that.
just gestured to yourselves in person.
Audio media.
Yeah.
Audio media.
Audio. Sounds. I've brought cake. It's good with coffee, isn't it? Should we go to a coffee shop?
That would be excellent, thank you.
Lovely.
With a snap of your fingers, the the dramatic Gothic cathedral collapses, and you find yourselves in
A dramatic Gothic cafe.
Yeah.
in a very nice sort of waterfront cafe on the surface. Celestia, without really intending this, because this is the Dreamfold and it draws on your subconscious.
It's the knee-jerk of what a coffee shop is, yeah.
It's not just the knee-jerk of the coffee shop. You realise that you've unwittingly summoned the mental image of the coffee shop you once fantasized about Leah opening someday in the distant
Oh, this
future.
is fine.
God, you're a monster.
So
That's
please
horrific.
describe what this looks like.
Okay, well, obviously, what is it? There's art all over the walls that is in Leah's art style, which I haven't really considered, honestly. I guess that's under your control. Is she a watercolour person? Oil paintings, wasn't it?
I think so, from memory.
Yeah.
Oil paintings.
And what did she like painting? Was it like landscapes or water?
Yeah.
I felt like she was a landscape painter.
Lots of landscapes, some floral studies and the like.
Yeah, probably some paintings of Tyre and like the mirrored roofs and stuff,
Yeah.
like history bits that she used to describe. I feel like it's very like nice wood, if that makes sense. That feels very Leah to me. It's all like rustic and wooden.
Yeah.
There's a stage for Celestia, which is very Celestia aesthetic. It's all shiny. There's some like fancy curtains there. There's a bunch of instruments ready to go. And I don't think there's anything else. Big windows, lots of sunlight coming in. Probably like an area, like a terrace area outside where you can like look over the waterfront. Lots of plants. Yes, lots of plants feels right. Like maybe ivy going up the walls. It's real pretty.
You sort of set down the giant cake. For want of a better term, strange that like almost slightly anonymous figure, like human waiter, pops by and she has a face, but it's not like any face you recognise. Like just has Celestia with like on gut instinct. What do you imagine a generic human waitress to look like?
It's not a waitress. Is the first one that came into my head. I don't know if it's because we were talking about Star Trek and the Gareth Gates weirdness, but it's Gareth Gates in a waiter costume.
Okay. Yeah, it's just.
I was like, guy with dark hair, and the first one that my brain thought of was Gareth Gates. That's what he looks like.
Yeah, you just see a dark-haired human man.
We were talking about Gareth Gates recently. I'm not just insane.
In a simple shirt and trousers, puts down a plate of a tray with coffee, cream, sugar, etc., and gives you a polite nod and steps away into the background.
Thank you.
Well, that's rather convenient. Can you do that anytime?
I mean, anywhere in the dream. Well, I mean, it's my spell, so we can kind of be anywhere you like. If you want anything in particular, let me know.
Oh no, this is delightful, actually.
Really?
Whereabouts are we?
I don't think it's real. If I had to guess, Tyre.
Right.
But I'm not all the way sure. Leo wanted to open a coffee shop, and this is always sort of how I pictured it. I haven't thought about it in ages, though, so it's, weird. Weird.
You can't really see too much of the rest of the location. Like, the coffee shop, you can see from the archway there is, like, matching architecture on the other side of the street. But actually, no, sorry, I said it's waterfront. You can see
There's a river. I think.
You can see like a gorgeous river aesthetic with additional city on the other side, but it's not one you recognise. It doesn't seem to be like Kion or anything.
I'm feeling like this is all kind of notional rather than literal.
It's probably like what Celestia's broad strokes idea of Tyre would look like far away.
Yeah.
So it's probably not right if you're from Tyre, but like a drawing of Tyre would be from far
sadly,
away.
it's not been to Tyre either. So.
Yeah, neither of us are going to know, but it's interesting.
Dogs bark in the background.
Dogs bark in the background on the waterfront. Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you? Are you okay? I haven't seen you in ages.
Well, yes, doing quite well, actually.
Yeah.
You're looking at the current governor of Luminaria.
Where's Luminaria?
It is the name that was decided by, well, largely myself, but also the committee of the ruling council. We couldn't keep calling the place O2.
Shit, you've renamed it.
For political reasons as much as anything else, but...
I fucking love that.
Yes. You wouldn't recognise it these days. It's... Well, the buildings are similar, but the aesthetics have totally changed.
Shit, what's it like?
Well, and he does his best to describe to you how the like all of the buildings have like brightly coloured paints on them now, and there is an emphasis on lighting and lights of various different colours.
Music as well, yeah.
And yes, music, and he describes how the procession that happened just as everyone thought the final breath leaf was dying, and seeing like the beds of them laid out, and then having the one shoot come up.
And it has continued growing since then. That's exciting.
Yes.
Fuck, that's insane. Well done.
Yes. Well, it was a rather intense 6 months, as I'm sure it must have been for you, for completely other reasons.
Yeah, very, very much so. Yep. How much do I sell him? Oh God, I don't think I go into big detail about the Sirius Citadel because I know that Scamp's like a bit secretive about that, and I haven't asked if this is okay, so I don't. I say we had some sorcerer shenanigans, where we went to. Like, somewhere on another plane and a load of crazy stuff happened. I don't be too specific about what went on there. And also, I guess I give him the vague catch-up on Sunder, actually. Yeah. And, like, the voyage and stuff. Like, all that kind of thing, where we've been. Yeah, I just give him, like, a super, like, light speed rundown.
Maybe something about the Drow Empress. Just a warning might be.
Yeah.
You can just...
I mean, that I might actually say, because that feels like a bit more of an important bit. Yeah. This is them, like, we're abstracting them catching up, because the listeners and us all know what's happened, basically. But I feel like they would before they get the big stuff. the Drow Empress, I need a reminder on the details of what is happening there. So basically she said that she'll go for Celestia last.
Yeah.
Yep, that was the arrangement.
Where did Sabnet come into it? My brain's hurting.
Off the
I know she's pissed at Sabnet, I think, but I can't remember the exact details of it.
Well, as far as she's concerned, and Sabnet might say this, as I understand it, the story that the Empress is feeding everyone is that I and my companions are responsible for cooing the city.
I mean, you are, aren't you?
Well, yes. Absolutely.
I'm not going to be technical.
That's not an insult. It's just
no. It's
just
an
true.
Accurate representation of the facts.
I mean, it was the right thing to do, but you did do it.
Yes.
That's not a lie for once.
But I don't know precisely what her angle is with this.
I mean, I imagine her angle is that you're all a bunch of fucking heretics, right?
Traitors and all the rest of it. Yes, we do have an assassination attempt scoreboard.
Oh, really? Who's winning?
Me.
Rats.
But I'm Jesus.
Yes, but people are frightened of you.
It's
I feel like that's why you're not winning. They're like, fuck, if I go near them, I'll fucking explode.
It's a close run thing, but the thing that is frustrating about that is I don't know what they've set the bounty on our heads at. I hope it's 6 figures at least.
I mean, she's made of fucking money, isn't she? Surely.
Well, you'd have thought.
Is she richer than my lot? I don't know. I mean, they're one of the 40, but she's the Empress.
Other than very, I don't know quite how rich your lot is.
Very.
Well, yes.
I mean, I don't know, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, it's not like Nivara fucking tells anyone, is it?
No.
Because that would seem stupid. I don't know how rich we are, do we? Do I?
You... you never knew the books.
Oh, Celestia wasn't let into the books. Definitely not.
You now know that Nivara's true wealth was spread across the global bank, Golden Crest and Guildenstern.
We might actually be richer than the Empress.
But you also actually have zero. You wouldn't even know where to begin trying to calculate the wealth of the monarch of an entire empire.
Yeah. But also, she's kind of a monarch that's going a bit to seed, and it's like, she's really powerful, but her power is waning. So out of character, I'm finding it hard to tell who would be richer, the World Bank or the Drow Empress.
Yeah,
genuinely.
No one that you know. Well, maybe a Nivara is the sort of person who might be inclined to compile a rich list, but certainly that information is well outside either of your.
Oh, Celestia
access.
would have no idea.
Yeah.
Definitely not. I think there's this moment where she sort of looks into space and goes, "Actually, I'm not sure if we're richer than the Empress or not."
Well, the odd thing is that whereas we are regarded as traitors for perfectly legitimate reasons, it seems to be, at least from what my sources tell me, that they believe that the Rothanals are traitors and that I took over Luminaria in support of them.
That is weird. I mean, I did make her literally think they were traitors.
Yes.
So I can see... weirdly, I can see how she might have actually joined that up as a mistake.
Well, it's a mistake that is useful to us. But...
I mean, if she's taking... Okay, if the Empress is taking what the Rothanals are doing as a sort of extension of what I'm doing, and also they are actually, smuggling Drow out of the Underdark and trying to overthrow her and stuff, that is genuinely happening. Is that a law drop for Sabnet? Does he know that?
He knows... in fact, he'll respond. Yeah. Yes, I was somewhat aware of this, and in fact, it seems to go further than I realised. I had some sources in Joraguma, which of course is the next logical step if we were going to take this further.
Yeah.
And what I've been finding there, other than the usual, they're traitors, they're heretics, there do seem to be a number of families from Joraguma who are just going to the surface, as one does, and not coming back.
Right.
I think
just
voluntarily choosing not to come back, but
That's kind of cool.
But it does seem like there is quietly an exodus going on.
Good.
Yes.
About time the place was... I don't know. Mind you, though, it sounds like you're making something good, so who am I to say that people should leave?
Well, I think whatever the various different visions for the future we may have, I think we're all agreed that it needs to be different than the present.
Different would be a start, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, my mother apparently, her whole goal is to get Drow out of the Underdark.
Yes.
But she went about it horribly, obviously.
I did look in on your family's estate.
Oh shit, how did it go? I assume there was no one there, right?
Deserted.
Yeah.
Actually, quite staggeringly so. But what I was able to discover was that seemingly she kept her secret army very, very well hidden.
Yeah, she did. I didn't know about it until I was in it.
The only thing I found in the pantry was a rather flamboyant-looking potato.
Oh.
And there wasn't really anything of great value left behind. They were preparing for this for a while, I think.
I suppose that makes sense. And I mean, from what I now know, that makes sense. Adrian showed me a bunch of stuff in a dream. And yeah, it looks like they were prepared to leave for a while.
You've been in contact with him?
Yes.
Where is he?
Darling, that is my brother you're talking about.
I'm aware.
We need to talk, don't we? Is there any way I could convince you to not do a murder on my brother, Sabnet?
Well, the only reason he wasn't higher on my list of priorities is that I felt that he was well outside of my reach for the moment.
Well, that may change. Oh, we should really properly talk, shouldn't we?
Has there been some great shift?
Yeah. Yeah, there has. You know, I think I actually really honestly give him the Adrin lore drop.
Alright.
Like, I think I talk him through... Not, like, absolutely every single personal detail of, like, Adrin's dream, but I think I talk him through what I found out about him and Dad, what I found out about the family goals, what I found out about, like, what he's like, and, what he was doing behind the scenes. Like, I think I kind of give him the rundown, like, basically. And I say...
Okay.
We have a lot to talk about today, there's another big thing, but... I think what I would say to you about your revenge quest for Adrian, which, by the way, I understand, it is justified. I get it. What I would say is that you were trying to kill him in that fight too, right? If there'd been opportunity, you would have done it. But before he killed Sandy, you would have killed him. Death was on the table. Yeah. And also... even more so if you were under orders from your matriarch and trying to be a good drow man. You wouldn't have thought about it. It's not like it was personal. I know it was personal because of what happened, but it was a fucking war situation we were fighting.
Yes, I understand that.
And they are okay.
That is obviously something to be very thankful for. It was the principle of the thing, honestly, for a lot of the time, but...
Again, fair.
You know, if it were anybody else telling me this, I might be inclined to disbelieve them, but I know you wouldn't do that.
It would have been a very hard situation for him to lie in, as well. I mean, I was literally in his dream. You know, it's not that easy to put together something fake here. Even if he was conscious, and he wasn't conscious of me for the whole thing either. You know, he became conscious of me at a certain point, but chose to keep showing me stuff.
Then I would...
So he has no reason to lie.
No.
I can't think of one.
Then it seems that the question comes down to whether or not you feel he would even now side with your mother? Because if he does, then that puts us at odds for non-personal reasons once again.
I see for a second.
Yes.
Who was it that Dad had a blood feud with? I'm having a moment.
I believe Scamp is identified as the killer, as the one who killed Sabrina.
It is relevant. I think he would side with me.
Over your mother?
If I won the estate, yes. Also, he kind of is. Let me explain. So, towards the end, it was revealed, as I mentioned, that my dad has it out for Scamp in the same way as you and Adrian, was determined for revenge. And Adrian said to me, only the head of the estate can call off a blood oath.
I see.
With a certain look. And seemed to be egging me on in terms of taking over.
And you see there is a definite internal struggle going on that is complex. Sabnit is weighing alright, I am hearing and understanding what you're saying. I have my own feelings about it, but also I am trying to see the bigger political picture here.
Take a minute to mull on that part.
Alright.
While we talk about the next bit. It all joins together, I promise. But
Right.
it's a big thing I've just asked of you, and I don't want you to feel like you need to know how you feel that second, because, again, valid revenge quest. I'm not actually saying it wasn't. It was. It was awful.
Very well.
It was an awful day.
What is the other thing?
Well, the other thing is that I'm probably planning on taking over the estate soon.
Congratulations.
Thanks. It's not out of personal choice, particularly. It's complex, right? So, I'm very aware, Sabnit, that I promised to give it to you for almost nothing.
Mm-hmm.
We need to talk about that, because that morally is now not an okay thing to do in a way that it was. So, there's a lot happening in Sunder right now.
Mm.
The situation is tense. This isn't your first revolution either.
No.
There's a revolution going on, and Orsyria is coming, soon, imminently.
Mm.
And the thing is, stopping them getting control of this place, which means things like, if they don't get control, it could mean freeing all the slaves, it could mean better rights, it could mean the Achene getting to keep where they live. It's big, you know?
Mm.
Morally, it feels like the right thing that they don't get it if we can manage it.
Mm.
But it becomes a game of numbers after a certain point, doesn't it? And
if you have the Ebon Guard, the numbers are more in your favour.
Makes a big difference. A really big difference.
I don't envy the position you've been placed in.
Yeah, literally no one else can do it, so... Yeah, because at the moment they're siding with Orsyria for reasons that I really can't understand. Now that I know the motivations, I don't get it. Adrian wouldn't tell me because he is still bound to my mother at the moment.
Well, what little I know of Orsyria comes through the filter of one of their greatest rivals in Sewell, so take this with however much salt you wish, but it would seem that on the surface they are one of the big players.
Very, yes.
And politically, if you are trying to survive and gain influence, you at least need to know who the big players are.
What is she planning to do? Off the monarchs? Her whole thing is being anti-monarch. It's a monarchy.
They don't live as long as we do. We can think in terms of centuries. They'll.
Good point, actually.
You could outlive them most of the time.
I'm not as old as you. I don't think in these ways as much. No. Shades. Just.
But
yeah.
If you think about it in those
31's happening.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand.
It's hard to imagine being in triple figures, you know?
Yes, well, the point being, if they're strong today, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be strong in 100 years. And if you've been working that whole time to undermine them, that's going to make an awful lot of difference.
I mean, she had kids late. How old is she? Like 400?
Hold up. Just over 300.
Okay.
Well, she's like, what, 300-ish? So she's definitely had time to think about it.
Yes.
Because she had us later than is standard.
And still has time enough if that is a long game she's playing.
She does. Well, she's got basically the same again, right?
Yes, provided she doesn't get,
Offed.
stabbed, deposed, otherwise done away with.
Yeah, well, any of those things, yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, darling, when we were down in the Underdark, I was fully up for just fucking handing you the fortune and wandering off, right? Like, that was genuinely. I don't think I can do that, because we are sat on this giant fucking pile of money. I mean, she runs the fucking World Bank. Like, it's big, and I'm not planning to just collapse that, may I add, because I know that's bad. I'm planning on getting advice from Lady Grace on what to fucking do there. But it's a really, really, really big pile of money, and there are a lot of fucking people and causes that need help. And the thing is, staying lavishly rich for any length of time with that much money just sat there not fucking doing anything. I can't stay lavishly rich. It's got to go to other people. What the fuck else am I going to do with it? I'm happy to share. Very much. But I can't just hand it over. It's not right. If you have things you want to do with it too, we can talk.
Well, I can certainly think of ways it could be put definitely to our mutual benefit, being as, well, you have your ambitions on the surface, and I have mine, well, here, but also elsewhere.
Good. A lot of money could help with that, right?
I would be perfectly willing to come to some sort of arrangement if I knew that was the ultimate goal between the two of us. Another thing that I think... Again, I recognise this is a daunting position to be put in. But as you said, only the head of a house can call off a blood feud or make a definite statement as to what the stance of the house is. Right now, for House Cormwraith, that's me.
I know.
If we were to pool our resources and make public and open ties with each other.
That's the other thing I want to talk to you about, but you finish your point.
Then, depending on how much we're actually talking about, I'm assuming it is more than even some of the 40 families would see in a lifetime.
Again, she runs half the World Bank, Sabnet. Goldenkratz and Guildenstern, yeah. I really shouldn't be telling you this, by the way, so please. You're very good at secrets, so I'm not worried, but...
My lips are sealed.
I figured it was best to be open talking to you about all this shit.
Yes, and I thank you for being candid with me. That being the case, you understand, it changes the sort of scale you're thinking on when you have that amount of resources.
It does.
I was thinking I could make good the city and turn it into something that was different. If I had the resources with which to wage an actual campaign, something that, while Sul has maintained their support for us, knowing that the Breathleaf is there, it is tenuous.
Yeah.
They are reluctant to commit any further forces without a significant military or resource gain. I understand it. It's the rules of war.
Well, that makes sense. It all comes down to fucking coin at the end of the day, doesn't it? And
also just influence on a foreign hostile power.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, obviously, my mother keeps everything very close to her chest. I don't have a figure. Because I don't know, and I know that her wealth is scattered, as an incredibly paranoid and rich person would do it. So I don't imagine it would be instant. I think there would be a process of slowly moving things around and also trying not to collapse the bank if we can help it. So,
from what I gather, that would be
bad.
Burning down a house a lot of people live in.
But the thing is, I'm aware that I made you a promise as a friend,
Yes.
and you helped me a lot. You really did.
I did.
And I mean, Sam, technically I could just fucking wander off and do this, but that's not who I would like to be, and that's not how I would like to go into it. And the thing is, it occurs to me ridiculously that we had a conversation a while ago about making somewhat of an official tie between us, didn't we? I would like you to be assured that I'm not just planning on taking over the house and wandering off and ignoring that deal that we made. Even though I'm aware that I am taking liberties with how much I am changing it. But the information I have is different, I'm hoping you understand.
Well, if I understand the situation correctly, the course of action you're committing to, you can't walk away.
I mean, technically, with the Rothnell money, I could leave you down here and ignore the arrangement that we've made is the point that I'm making, but I don't want to. And I think I would like you to be assured that I intend to share this fortune, have you be in on any arrangements that I make, have you be in on any causes that we do that we might choose to dedicate this to, be it Luminaria, a campaign, be it helping people in Seoul. I think the best way to make it official and have you be assured that, you know, this is a real thing is to fucking marry you, isn't it?
Well, it certainly would solve a few problems, wouldn't it?
It would.
Oh.
How do you feel about it? Is it weird? It is weird. I'm so much younger than you. I mean, obviously, again, as you said to me all that time ago, it would be a marriage of convenience.
Yes. And I...
5-tier wedding cake with the little pair gleams significantly.
I click my fingers and they look like us.
I did wonder.
I just sort of found it on the way here and I thought, well, might as well.
It's actually a valid point. You're still wearing the cake outfit.
Yes.
If you want to be in something different, by the way, I can help with that. I hadn't thought anything weird of the fact that you were dressed as a cake.
I'd prefer something a little more louche.
Maybe your normal stuff.
Louche cake.
That I've seen.
Make a louche cake dress.
Your normal stuff that I've seen you in before.
Something that doesn't resemble some kind of confectionery would be approvable.
Coward.
Appreciated.
I put him in his normal stuff, but there's also like a little sweetie badge.
Okay.
Just because I'm taking the piss.
Acceptable.
Well, you know, you've got to give me my little wiggle room to take the piss, Stabby. But
I'll remind you, the last person who called me that didn't have a particularly sweet end.
No. But fuck, how do you feel about it? Would that work for you? Adrian would be horrified, but it'd be very funny.
I mean, you're selling it to me already.
But also, I hate to pull this, but let's do it. Let's talk about everything, right?
Yes.
We would be married, and you would be part of my house, and I would be the head. Only the head of a house can call off a blood feud, Sabnet.
Yes.
I give him a look. So, yeah. If you can't take that, I understand.
You understand a lot of the feeling I've had about this, other than the principle of it, is on behalf of my sibling, and bizarrely, they don't seem to be too fussed about it.
How out of character!
I don't think they've ever given a fuck. But I don't want to take away from how fucking awful it was and how right you are to feel that way either, because
You of all people understand, at least, how I feel.
Yes, of course I do. Got family.
And you see, it is a shift in him that you notice. That he is shedding himself of the weight of something he has held for a while. But he says...
I sort of I imagine we're sat at a little coffee shop table. If he's got a hand on a cup or something, I sort of move to put a hand on his forearm. I don't unless he gives an indicator that it's okay.
He allows it, and
but
he says...
just like a small touch.
I hope it goes without saying. I trust you.
Thanks. I trust you too.
And I trust that you would do whatever needed to be done to ensure that the rest of your family adhered to this.
I wouldn't ask unless I thought there was some sort of hope for Adrian, right? If I thought he was a lost cause, and he was lost to Nivahara, and there was absolutely nothing I could do to keep him on our side or get him in line with the sort of causes that we want to be part of, or if there was no hope of a relationship with him as a sibling, which you understand the fucking importance of, if there was no hope of any of that, I wouldn't be asking you to do anything different. But I think there is, and I want to try and have a brother.
Yes.
Actually, I really do. It's strange. I'm never going to have a sister. I'm not interested, but who the fuck is in a relationship with her? But I actually think I would. I can't call him a brother yet. We're not there. He's called me a sister, and that's fine. But he's not quite in the bracket of family yet. But I really want him to be, and I think we can. And there's no one else blood related to me who I would want that from. And yeah, I wouldn't ask unless it was fucking important.
Something occurred to me on the basis of what you've been saying about the difference of his upbringing to yours. Much as it pains me to say it, he and I, as males, are as much a victim of this situation as we are perpetrators of it.
Yeah.
And on that basis, I am willing to let this go. But there will be some time I need to take over this.
That is extremely kind of you.
And if there is ever likely to be a situation where we are in the same room, I will be cordial, but I would consider it a personal favor if you did your best to make sure that never happens.
Sorry. I was thinking of inviting him to the wedding, actually. But, that's probably a bad idea anyway.
Do you say that aloud?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Then Samuel will say, that would be unacceptable. It is
It's a big enough group. I can also ask
occasion.
him to keep away from you, and he would.
Yes.
I think. I don't. He's not actually a very spiteful person. I don't think he would come over with fucking daggers and piss taking like Quilena would.
No, and I can say this with all sincerity. much as there is history between us, I don't think we'd have very much to say.
No, I don't either. I think you have an alarming amount in common in terms of how you were brought up, but also, it's... Darling, I wouldn't ask you to like him.
It's on that basis I feel like, much as the heart wants what the heart wants, sometimes.
Yeah.
I would not be doing anybody any favours, least of all myself, if I didn't see the bigger picture in this.
That's the thing, it's bigger.
And we're going to do bigger things together.
Yes, we are. Also, I'm feeling very bad about something that I just did, and I think it's important to talk about. I just pulled the head of the house string to get you to do something, and I really don't think that I should be doing that, because we're trying to be better than the gender bullshit, right? The condition that I had for marrying you was, please don't murder my brother.
Understandable.
I am not intending to throw weight around. Technically, legally, I'm the head of the house, but let's talk about things as a fucking pair.
I'm willing to accept your terms, provided that the another condition is that we are able to share the resources.
Yeah, we can do that.
Because it seems, from what you've said, there's more than enough to go around.
I mean, there should be. Again, I hate that I can't give you a number, but I really can't.
And we can achieve our ambitions together.
Yeah, and we can probably help each other out, to be honest. I think we'd be quite a formidable pair when it comes down to it. We think very differently.
Also, I shall join your house, but I will keep my name.
Love that.
The Cormorant's name will continue somehow, somewhen.
I might change the house name. Stardust.
Has a more pleasing ring to it.
Rothnall's a horrible name, right?
Sabnet Stardust, though.
I might be willing to go for that on official documentation.
I'm not going to take your name away from you. Don't barrel it.
But, that's...
I'm not sure.
Well, we can workshop
Sabnet,
that.
Darling, I wouldn't give up mine.
No. And you understand why, for a person in my position, it holds greater importance.
You need to be yourself. And it's why I shouldn't be pulling bullshit like I'm the head of the house, actually. That was bad. I'm sorry.
Well, just as Cormorant is my family name, Stardust shall be the legacy that you create.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully... I think that should be your name on documents, because then any records will be yours.
Yes.
You know? I like that. How do you feel about a wedding on the ship?
I mean, is it going to be going along the water at the time?
No. Probably in dock.
Oh, all right. That's yes, because it was...
you get very seasick. I got seasick for ages.
It was rather disagreeable.
It's horrible. But apparently it's an Underdark thing if you've never been on the surface.
Yes, I would imagine so.
I don't think I ate a single thing that stayed in for at least a month or two.
And if you're planning on moving on your mother soon, then presumably I need to start making tracks to you. This will...
Scamp can help. You know Scamp's teleportation thing?
Oh.
The thing that we went up with.
Yes. Yes, I remember now. Sorry, I was a little distracted at the time.
It was a bad day. It's okay. But yeah, they've got better at it. They can do it without circles. So...
Oh, so...
We could just come get you. On the day.
Well, that changes everything.
Would you be up for getting married soon?
I could take a brief sabbatical, yes.
Obviously invite anyone you want.
Yeah, well, I feel that my sibling and Brevet's General Oksana should be there.
I've got other plans that day.
I'm sitting in my room staring into space and not talking to anyone.
My calendar's real full.
Oksana and Sander have
scheduled silence time and can't go to a wedding.
We haven't even set a date, but yeah, we're both busy.
If I didn't think if I didn't know better, I would be wondering if they weren't an item already.
What?
Oh!
Sandra and Oksana?
Yeah, well, they have been spending an awful lot of time together, and
Really?
Yes.
That's weird. Fun. I'm shipping it. Because
I never considered it.
I haven't either. Not even slightly.
Well, you understand from Sabnet's point of view.
There's
That's
also
what
actually no reason why not.
It's like...
Listeners, you cannot see Robbie's expression. They've got like one eye squinted and one like overly wide.
Why have neither of us considered this?
There's lights behind them eyes.
I'm having a moment. Like, they're entirely compatible in what they both like. They hate talking to people. They'd be a lovely couple, actually.
Like, Sabnet, I think, knows his sibling well enough to know that's not what's going on, but
also, like, both of us are sounding like, why not?
Yeah.
Sandra's got a dead love waiting, but you know what? They're going to live for a while.
They are.
I feel like neither of them
if they let go of the martyr complex.
I feel like neither of them are going to consider this until Sabnet makes a joke about it in front of them.
Yeah.
Or so,
it's going to be like the it's going to be the thing of like, so are you aware you're dating, or is it still...
They do, like, have dates. Silence dates. Oh my god.
Oh no.
Back to your cafe day.
So we've both just have an aneurysm over this. Like, what? Why? Like, I just don't know why we haven't thought of it.
No.
To be fair, because like Sandra was grieving over somebody. That's probably why I haven't. But yeah, interesting. This needs further talks. What the fuck were we talking about? Getting married.
We were discussing the logistics of wedding plans, which seem to be, given Scamp's abilities, a lot more straightforward.
Yeah, and I mean, Corzin obviously is a ship captain, so he could marry us if you'd be up for that.
Oh, can they do that?
Yeah, but it's apparently a thing. Like when you become a ship captain, you can just marry people, left, right, and centre. You just do it anytime.
Bizarre.
What was Sabnet expecting? Like a full spider church wedding? Oh.
Well, given everything, I obviously wasn't planning on a temple wedding.
I mean, I figured like that would be very strange at this point.
Yeah, and given the circumstances, I don't think it would be wise for there to be any kind of sacrifices.
Oh, that does usually happen, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. No.
Well,
no spiders allowed.
You know what they used to say about it being considered a dull affair?
They're very nice. They should come. They're great at a party.
Oh, they did make it then.
Yeah.
We had
Well, we've got some on our ship, and I think some of them went elsewhere, but yeah, they're lovely.
We had a scouting party sent to where they were and seen that they had left, but we weren't sure where they'd gone.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I suppose then I should... I don't know if they'll be disappointed or relieved that they won't be officiating my wedding, but I will have to explain the situation to Sander.
They could do a reading.
Just doing a checking on this. Yep, you put I've on my doctrinal notes for the luminance that you specifically said no material sacrificial offerings. They were considering whether to do like little votive ones of like making icons and sashing. Then you had nope, sacrifice is giving up of yourself and giving up time and energy to help others.
Yep.
So celebration is all like lots of art and music and loud and communal.
And I hate every second of it.
And you hate every second of it. You basically, you've really just created like
a sensory nightmare for myself.
A sensory nightmare for yourself.
Still can't believe Sabinet's been shipping them this whole time. That's so funny. Genius.
Well, it's all like I just.
With
the information I have,
why they're having tea together. They've never told him. They're just like, we've got business.
I mean, frankly,
it happens too much to be plausibly business.
The amount of times he's had tea in inverted commas with somebody, and it has led to fucking.
Yeah. So funny. Anyway, I mean, if you have specific wedding requests, this is a party of two.
I figured the ship because there's not much notice and it's easy.
Yes.
Also, it'd be fun.
I understand, given the circumstances of your last visit to Luminaria, that you wouldn't necessarily want to be there for any kind of length of time. Would you be willing, however, to make at least maybe one public appearance? Just so that it doesn't look like I've shot off and eloped and got married to some random.
Yeah, I've totally got a wife. She just goes to another school.
Yes. Well,
you wouldn't know her.
I'm a politician, like it or not. I have to create a certain image.
Do I need to come down so we can kiss babies together and stuff? Because that's really funny. Also, maybe I think I'd quite like to see you two fucked up. Actually, quite like to see Luminaria.
Yes.
I might get weird in the cave, relevant. I don't drink anymore.
Right.
So I'm a bit easily stressed at the moment. But
do you have any other outlets? Music. That we can do.
Probably.
There's a lot more of it there now than there used to be.
I mean, I could play something. It might be fun.
Yes.
But no, I can come and help you. Is the title governor these days?
Governor.
Governor,
yes.
Yeah. Let's go mayor. That's not right. That's Alton. But I can help you be governor. You know, be your spouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. But perhaps actually you could consult on one of the things that we're attempting to do in light of the changes that have been happening is put together a musicians guild.
Oh, fun.
That would be something I think you might wish to consult on.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Are you all getting fucked up by monsters all the time? Because you're being loud and bright and all the things.
Well, where we are is relatively well fortified still. We've been working on repairing the defences. At some later point, Sabnet may give you the rundown on how the actual battle went, but suffice to say, and Jason, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the wildlife that the noise would attract would be an issue, but it's one that they are in the at least okay dealing with.
Yeah, you're basically the answer is Luminaria is routinely assailed by wildlife, and you just defend against it.
You know, we've been putting together a standing army rather than just.
I mean, you fucking need one if you're going to be that loud and bright all the time.
Well, yes, and one of the jobs of the standing army is to defend the city against all aggression. But one of the advantages of having a standing army is that you can you don't have to be rushing to get anything together in order to defend a place once an attack begins.
Oh, fair.
Talking of which, actually, do you remember that letter I sent to you about my human friend Denis?
Denis, yes, the letter with the hat in it. I remember.
Yes. Well, turns out, she was seeing a carabiner behind my back.
Denis, how dare you?
Well, I did what any good gentleman in that situation would have done. I struck on my best coat, strapped on my sword, wandered over there, and I damn well seduced him to see what the fuss was about. Turns out he's quite skilled. But they both need to...
I think of myself as quite a charismatic person, and I can't imagine managing that. Well done.
What they both need to know is I'm to be fucked, not fucked with.
Fair. By the way, I hope it goes without fucking saying, but this isn't expected to be like a monogamous drow marriage.
No, well,
do whatever the fuck, obviously. Do whatever the fuck you like and I will do.
There are plenty of the...
Basically do anything except me.
Understandable. I don't...
Pretty much.
I didn't imagine children were a consideration in this marriage.
No, that would be weird, right? I mean, the age gap as much as anything is just a bit pervy.
Yes, I mean it's not the widest of age gaps I've heard of, but
well, that doesn't mean we need to play into that, though.
No, obviously. And frankly, if we are trying to create a new and better world, let's not make any of the mistakes of the old one.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do it differently.
Yes. Plus, our legitimacy was never going to be supported by any of the powers that be down here anyway.
Yeah.
So.
And you're seeing everyone, I'm seeing someone, so yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, even some of the older 40 families have had others.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how fucking traditional you're being, doesn't it? But we're not at all.
Yes.
Well, if we're actually going to get married, any request for a ring?
Well, I suppose that is
aesthetically colours,
traditional.
Would you prefer big and elaborate or little and practical? What are we talking?
Oh, I don't know, something of a sapphire, perhaps.
Ooh, classy, very nice.
It's
silver, I'd guess, for you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We can do that.
It seems to be my colour.
Well, I better propose then, hadn't I? Really?
Yes. Would it be legally binding if we're doing it in a non-physical space?
I mean, literally none of the drow are going to think Corzin marrying is legally binding. It's not a spider church.
Oh, then that's a reason to do it in even more.
Yeah. Well, okay then. So I haven't planned this. I'm just going to do whatever the fuck comes out. So it's like, okay, so the Saran date where it all got really theatrical because we've established that Celestia can change things with a click of the fingers, but she doesn't always because she's a dickhead.
Yeah.
So a pull thing like for a stage curtain, one of those big gold curtain pulls comes out of the ceiling.
Excellent.
She pulls it, and basically under where you are sat, Sabnit, a Rapunzel-esque tower comes up. And you're put in a sort of princess outfit with a pointy hat and all sorts, like an old fairy tale. And you've got your hair. Your hair is going down the edge of the tower because that's what I'm saying happens now. Yeah, it's just like
the
really
roof
long.
just sort of opens up as a new roof sails up past it.
You've got like a Juliet balcony, like that's the vibe. There are flowers everywhere, and also like lewd pictures around. I just feel like there are pictures of like naked people on the walls of this tower because that's the sort of room that Celestia thinks Sabnit would like. So it's just like porn on the walls, basically. So it's like it's slightly fairy tale, but also there's an edge of like this is probably a what porn thinks a fairy tale is.
For a split second, he's like, "Oh, this isn't very practical." And oh, but the bend in the leg's quite realistic.
There's a harpsichord in one corner in desperate need of repair.
The harpsichord is playing itself, so there's like twinkling harp music in the background. Celestia starts climbing up Sabnit's hair and then goes, "This is okay."
Oh yeah.
Oh hell yeah, it's a Sabnit track. Celestia starts climbing up Sabnit's hair and then goes, "Well, this is fucking stupid. I hate. Why is this what happens in the story? This is dumb."
Sabnit, you're just like being called.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop. Celestia goes,
"Is this how they do it on the surf?"
But you know what? That's really funny. No, he like falls.
Yeah.
Celestia is caught by okay, so in Cinderella, when we're doing Disney. In Cinderella, when they put her like headscarf on, there are like little bluebirds that come over and tie her headscarf. So we've got like a bit of like fancy fabric, and there are a bunch of bluebirds carrying it, and it catches Sabnit, and then it comes down and catches Celestia, and they're escorted up to the balcony by these twittering birds.
Those strange surface bats.
Yeah, Celestia's in some sort of bizarre storybook prince outfit, but like rainbow and low cut. Basically,
like Panto Principal Boy, but make it slutty.
Yeah.
Slutty Panto Principal Boy.
Slutty buttons is
slutty buttons.
That's about the vibe.
What a phrase!
Yeah, a little hat and everything. Like it's
good luck, fan artists.
Yeah, little tiny like fez thing that's like a fascinator.
Non-English listeners, look up buttons in Panto.
Yeah. There's like a specific outfit for buttons, though, isn't there?
Yeah.
But yeah, rainbow porn buttons is what we're talking. And they get escorted up to this balcony. Celestia goes down on one knee. Says, "Savnet, my darling, my love, Snookums, will you do me the honour of being my husband?" And there's a ring box, and there's genuinely a ring with a sapphire on it that I think is something Savnet would like. If you like it, I'll get you a real one made. If you don't, we'll talk about it.
Okay, he'll take it out and look at it for a moment and go, "Celestia, dearest, I shall," and puts it on.
Well, fuck it, we're engaged. Shit.
Somehow, well, I didn't picture it like this.
Is this better or worse than what you expected from getting engaged? Because surely you were going to have to eventually, because Drow society is stupid.
Well...
Now we're just like chilling on the balcony in our stupid outfits. So I see he's got a cigarette from somewhere.
The waiter from before is just like a little cigarette case.
Thank you.
Gareth Gates is back.
Yeah, it's the first time. They're like,
Thanks,
cigarettes are new. Well, I mean, cigars are not new, but might be to you because I don't think
he'd have seen Oksana smoking them.
You've seen Oksana smoking them.
Oksana
but
does
cigarettes
smoke
with
cigars.
filters are certainly new.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, well, these small.
Oh yeah, they don't exist yet. Yet. They're very nice. They're very smooth. I light it for you. You smoke them like a cigar.
Yes.
Although actually, you can inhale all the way.
All right. Yes. He is
It is his first cigarette.
Yeah.
That is fair.
He is very, very much not used to this, but has immediately gets the aesthetics of it down very,
He's more
very
likely
well.
to have smoked opium than something like a cigarette, but that you do also inhale all the way down. I think so. Yeah.
I feel like if he were ever to get used to these, he'd definitely be the sort of person who had like a cigarette holder as well.
Oh,
You
nice.
notice on the tray next to the cigarette case, there is indeed like a sort of straight, akin to a pipe, but more like a pipe if it was a trumpet.
Okay.
It's like just a long straight pipe.
No.
Oh, that suits you.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, they're smooth, right? Nice. Yeah, nice drag. But yeah, I mean, I guess the post-engagement cigarette is an important thing, isn't it?
Yes, to be honest, there is part of me that was wanting to put this particular chapter of my life off as far as possible, but then again, can you blame me when you saw what I had to work with?
I mean, fucking hell, there's two little daughters at that dinner that we went to. I really pitied you that day.
His hand starts shaking a little bit.
You can have a drink if you want one. I'm not going to. But...
No,
Gareth Gates has a slight.
Why is it Gareth Gates? You just were like a generic-looking man with dark hair, and he was just like,
It's Gareth Gates.
Yeah. Gareth Gates' waiter has a bottle of something fizzy and some glasses available.
okay,
You know what? We both pour from the same bottle, but it's miraculously got alcohol in for you and not for me.
Oh, yeah,
because
non-alcoholic.
because it's my gig.
Yeah.
Literally, it's poured from the same one.
Yeah.
But somehow it works.
Have you just performed a miracle? Well, it's the dream.
I mean, it's not real
yes.
liquid. If we were actually here, we wouldn't be able to drink things from here, but we're not. So, you know.
Well,
we're just like projecting or whatever.
Chin chin.
Chin chin. Cheers. But yeah, we should set a date.
Yes.
Let me know when works. Obviously, it's got to be in the next, like 3 weeks?
Next week, 2, you're on downtime 3, so just under 2 weeks.
It's got to be in the next 2 weeks. Yeah, and also think about what you want it to be like when I come down. If you want it to be some sort of celebration of our marriage, we can do that. If you want it to be lower key, we can do that. I mean, it feels like a good opportunity for a celebration.
Yes, I think possibly.
And if you want it to be public,
possibly having it be blessed by Sander as a recognition of its legitimacy would be a useful thing. Both.
I mean, what, they're like the fucking Messiah or something, aren't they? Blessing it in front of the city might be a good thing. I'm sure they'd hate it.
They don't particularly like the M word, but it is seemingly a boot that fits.
I mean, they might not be the Messiah, just a naughty drow, but like as far as anyone else is concerned, they're the fucking Messiah, right?
Yes, and they recognise the usefulness of that position, even if it's something I think that makes them deeply uncomfortable.
Well, if you can persuade them to do that, I don't mind. That's fine.
I think that would be a useful start. Obviously, then you can consult on the Musicians Guild and anything else you please. I can even
Let's have a look around, honestly.
Yes, I mean, I will. I think touring the city would be a good use of our time.
A parade. Fun.
Yes, I shall make sure my my sources have kept it free of potential assassins.
Yeah, could I bring my family? I think they'd have fun. Corzin and Scamp.
Oh, but of course,
Maybe even
yes.
Corzin's little one, actually. Sounds pretty.
He made a little one? A littler one?
Yes, a little one. Yeah, no, he's got... Have I never mentioned he's got a wife and kid? That might not have come up. I suppose it was sort of a crisis. The kid's tiny. He's like a foot tall. It's adorable.
I think I might possibly have crossed paths with it when we were on that...
you might have met briefly.
That ship, but I was spending rather a lot of my time hanging over the side, as I recall.
Or with Vig, or pissed.
Yes, he was a tonic. How is he doing these days?
Well, yeah, he got pretty injured. Yeah, he
dear.
was. Yeah, he lost his legs actually. Yeah, but he's doing really well with it now. He was in a chair for a bit and kind of getting used to that. He's got some new magic-y prosthetics that we found, which I think he's liking. But they're a bit of a learning to get used to, you know, because fucking prosthetics it's apparently just a bit difficult to learn how to use them. But he's liking them better than the chair so far. And I think it was an awful experience, but I think he's found some good things from it, if that makes any sense.
I see.
Yeah, I don't know, he's weirdly wise lately. Yeah.
He did have that
He always was
wise beyond his years quality.
I mean, he's decently old anyway, isn't he? How old is he?
I mean, the gentleman doesn't tell, but I was sort of estimating around 60s.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah. Yeah, that feels... I think so. Actually, no, with when his dad
he's a
was
half
around
elf, so...
and... Yeah, no, that would make sense.
He maybe looks 30.
Oh, yeah. He
Yeah.
definitely looks 30, yeah. Yeah, no, that, with about when his dad was around, that would make sense, I think. I've never really thought about it, to be honest. I know he's older than me, but yeah. But no, I mean, he'll be invited. You can say hello to him yourself.
Excellent.
He's looking stylish as fuck as ever. He's got a new hat. It really suits
Oh.
him. You'll like it.
Yes, I have managed to acquire some glasses, as I now understand they're called. And
Well, you want to bring those.
yes, of course, the surface. But at least I shall only be wearing the hat for aesthetic reasons, not for practicality.
Oh, well, you should look fabulous. Wear whatever you like, darling, obviously.
Excellent.
Yeah. But yeah, send me a list of guests so that we know. If you have any particular catering things you want, just have a think about it. Let me know. There's a lot of options in Sunder, so we'll figure it out.
Do they have flapjacks over there as well?
I've probably had that. They actually call them different things.
They have flapjacks, but they call them
pancakes.
something else.
Yeah, because flapjacks are pancakes in America, aren't they?
Yes, they
Yeah.
are.
Like the big
you
puffy
should
ones.
definitely reference the fact that difference. But what do they call
what
them?
do they call flapjacks? I actually don't
I'm drawing a
because
blank.
in England, if you're American and listening,
Yeah.
genuinely, because we have a lot of American listeners. In England, they're like oat bars.
Yeah.
Like you make them with like oats and
Golden
syrup,
syrup
which
and-
in America is corn syrup because they don't call it golden syrup over there. Basically,
okay.
corn syrup or honey, and you like bake. So they're like baked oats.
Yes.
Goods. But we know that you call like big puffy pancakes flapjacks sometimes, which I only found out relatively recently. So there is actually like a confusion in terminology. They do have flapjacks here, but they're these big sort of poofy pancakes rather than what they call flapjacks over in like Seoul. But I mean, we could
Yes, because
certainly
I've had some of
arrange.
the Sulian ones. They're quite thin.
Yeah, I mean, we could certainly. You've had pancakes, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're I think they call them crepes over there, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we can arrange for crepes and Cerulean flapjacks and Sundrum flapjacks if you want. If that's on your list, we can do that.
Excellent.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. You're both Googling flapjacks in America, aren't you? Any luck?
Closest equivalent's a granola bar, really, but that's not the same thing.
Yeah.
That's not for sweets. No.
And also, weirdly, apparently, historically, at this point, it would be an apple flan would be what a flapjack is actually describing. So we're in some weird... as ever, high quality.
It's a fantasy podcast.
Okay.
Shut up.
Also, a thing again, I think that Sabinet would have been introduced to because of the Cerulean influence would be so. There's this dish. I'm not sure. I don't understand the name of it, but it's like layers of finely sliced potato, onions, and cheese. But somehow they call it the dolphin nose.
Oh, I know dolphin nose potatoes. Yeah, we can do that. That's good shit. That's a good choice. We should do that. Yeah. But keep me posted. I can take.
Where does the dolphin come in?
I don't know. To figure that out.
Aren't those one of those aquatic creatures?
Yeah, one of those clicky fishes. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I said. Yeah.
That's
what came out.
Yep.
Yeah, but keep me posted. We can take sendings and shit.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, my first port of call after departing from here will be to inform the relevant people.
Yeah, give Sander my love.
Will do.
Of course.
Yes.
Look forward to seeing them.
And at the risk of being cliche, wow, this is all so sudden.
It is, isn't it? Goodness, I'm overwhelmed with romantic emotions. Are you?
Oh, I'm...
You look ready to swoon.
I would never be caught swooning.
No, I'd let you drop to the ground. I wouldn't catch you.
From this balcony, the ground is some distance away.
Yeah. You probably bounce. It's a dream. But I should probably leave you to your business.
How do you leave?
There's suddenly, out of nowhere, from the sky, because that's how it works, there's like a fireman's pole that appears. It just goes... it's rainbow, obviously.
There is no logic to this place.
There really is. It should go back to something... I'm going to lose control when I leave, so you might just be sort of here until you wake up.
Or it's going to be like...
or it might change, depending on what your
Ghost
brain does.
again.
I mean... Hopefully not. Can I leave him without that? Is that a thing I can do?
Well, if you
dream will continue from the point it is currently in, following dream rules.
I mean, it'll continue from here. So does it make sense for it to show up? I mean, you can stay here, have a drink. The waiter's over there. I feel like you'd make a good Gareth. We're going to call him Gareth for some reason. Gareth's over there with drinks and stuff. Have a nice time as long as you want a nap.
Wow.
Or I'm sure Gareth might be up for other things if you'll ask him. I haven't asked.
I'm sure I can get creative.
Yeah. Enjoy the artwork. And see you when we get married, I guess.
Yes.
Exciting.
I look forward to it.
Bye, husband. I climb theatrically onto the pole and slide down.
The pole came down from the sky.
Yeah.
So
it's like next to the balcony.
Oh, I see.
Or you
so
just sliding up it.
You slide down it out of sight. The pole descends into the ground from your perspective.
Yeah. I just feel like it's from the sky to the floor, and I slide down it like a fireman.
Yeah, from your perspective, you slide out of the dream bubble and then sort of begin the process of disintegrating.
Yeah, I walk off and do the awkward standing there for a minute while I wait to... I do it while Zossam is not looking at me.
From your perspective, as the dream goes, Celestia vaults onto the pole, slides down out of sight. You look down, they're gone. The pole slides into the ground. You look around the little princess tower. There's a knock from a wooden door set into the wall. You open it. There is a very handsome and muscular-looking orcish gentleman with a sort of ruffled shirt collar, but no shirt, and a bag of tools. Hello, I'm here to fix the harpsichord.
Ah, yes, and bring your friend.
Of course. And we're going to...
Fade to black.
There's a fireplace
eyes here all of a sudden.
We pan to Gareth, like, preparing another set of drinks.
Gareth stoking the fire.
Gareth stoking the fireplace. And on that cheerful fade to black note, we are going to pick up not at all there next time.
Literally anywhere else.
In the waking world next time. Thank you all very much for listening. Thank you all for playing. And farewell from all of us here at Flintlocks and Fireballs. Fair seas and natural 20s. From what I've heard, I would suppose that's not how most people propose by offering to fund a war, but let's fix your harpsichord. So, gather your muskets, gather your spears, we'll plunder the shores of Calcinea. No kraken, storm or spell we fear, so come and sail with us, my dear.